for someone like you with your work ethics, with your vision, with your ability to follow through, you could have picked any field and succeeded it. But why do you believe in real estate so much?
Because real estate is one of the few things, on the planet that's considered an asset that you can see, right? And hold and touch, like gold or watches even, or anything like that. But real estate is something you can actually live in as well, right? It's one of the few things that people call home, people make home. It's very unique in the sense where you actually have ownership of a piece of property that, it's yours, it's to your name, which, in itself, especially in a lot of other countries that don't allow that, it's a huge deal, right? Your name being tied to ownership. So, I think that kind of intrigued me at first. And also coming out of college, because I graduated from UCSD with an econ and accounting degree, I thought, hey, I wanted to go Big Four consulting or Big Four accounting. And I wanted to actually try sales before I jumped out of college. And I just fell into it. It was the one job coming out of college that would pay me an hourly of $12.50 an hour and not take me on a draw and not try to deduct my money. So it was the one job that would offer that. So it kind of fell into it. So it became my passion after the fact, not prior to.
So I see a huge similarity between my intro of $211 million of total volume versus your graduating college GPA of 2.6. They both start with twos. But I share that besides a little shades to you. But as a Korean American, Jonathan, you failed everything, right? You failed out of a pre-med as a major. You barely graduated from UCSD. Yet you're one of the most successful people that I know. But not just successful, you do it with integrity. What do you think that is?
Well, I wouldn't say I barely graduated. C's get degrees for all you viewers, But it definitely wasn't the ideal sense. My parents weren't very happy. Actually, I don't even think they know my GPA actually now that it's on YouTube. So they're going to know my GPA. But until this point, they didn't know my GPA. I never really gave them report cards or anything. That kind of ended in high school. From an Asian sense, I guess I did fail. Now that you put that into kind of a perspective, and I thank you for putting that into perspective for me, even though I didn't really need to hear that. I definitely, in the sense of an Asian culture, I did fail, but I don't know what really drove me to be in the position that I'm at. It definitely was just, and there's always kind of the God's plan thing, right? The idea of it's all within God's plan. My belief is, hey, I'm never going to truly be able to understand what his plan is, what he wants for me, what's kind of out there for me until after it happens, right? Because hindsight's always 20/20. But during the moments where you're in it, it's extremely difficult to understand and know, be aware of the surroundings that you're in, right? So I think it's kind of that. I kind of just gave up control for the most part. And I'm like, you do what you will. But, the 211, I mean, it seems like a big number, but, it's just a number. Myself and, with my partner, Dustin, who's, grown to be a very important part of my life now, because obviously we're business partners and basically we're married, because of the business. And, I think it's just God just blessing me with good people in my life. That's, I truly believe God works through people. And despite the low GPA, despite failing as a nation, despite all that, I continued to stay focused on hey, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know that whatever I'm going to do, like you said, with my, work ethic and all of that, I know that it's going to work out. And I just kind of blindly went into it. And, my dad always told me, he was like, hey, there's always going to be opportunity, one, but you have to be ready. Because if you're not ready, if you're not staying ready, if you're not staying focused, then you are not, if you see an opportunity pop up, you might not be able to take it. I think, kind of failing as an Asian on the numerical sense, GPA wise, really allowed me to push harder, and really just be something that can't be attained by just the normal course of action, right? I didn't want to go the paved path. I wanted to freaking, pave my own way, grade my own mountain, and, start building a house there. And that's what I wanted.
Yeah, so I sense two threads throughout your response, right? First is walk by faith, not by sight. And we'll definitely talk about church. We'll talk about the pillar of your faith in your life later in the episode for sure. Another quote I reminds me of is success equals to opportunity plus preparation, right? When opportunity presents itself to you through serendipity, through encounters, or through networking, if you're not prepared to rise up to the opportunity, it's obsolete. It's literally meaningless. And I sense what you said, but that's why work ethics and your dedications and perseverance, all that cliche stuff has to be the part of the equation. I want to go into the train of Dustin and your current partnership with him. So from my research and a lot of your media appearances you've been on lately, what puts Convoy Home Loans apart from everyone else, like the so-called competitive advantage, is that you and Dustin actually put your skins in the game, right? You have your true equities, you're truly at stake. So it's not just for profit. It's actually not mission, but survival based. You have to succeed because your skin's in the game. So in addition to just the white glove, A1 customer service, the royalty like treatment that you provide for your investors and your customers, all that aside, what truly makes you as the co-founder of your company and what makes Convoy so special in this very saturated real estate world?
To be honest, I think it has to be that white glove service. And the reason why I say that is because half of sales is just making sure the customer is heard, making sure they feel like, they're being taken care of. That's the most important part, right? That's why when you go to a restaurant and $100 plate of fine dining where you have like this big of a mussel, a little bit of whatever sauce on the side, you look at that and you're like, oh shoot, like it's $100, but oh my God, it tastes so good. Why does it taste so good? It's not good because it's like a little mussel on here. It's good because the ambiance of the service you're getting, right, from the restaurant, everyone that has Michelin stars and all that, they have great service, right? And that makes people want to come back, pay the higher prices, do all that. So I think truly that's kind of something that's lacking in the mortgage industry because it is kind of an older industry where you have to do a lot of business face to face, but we do most of our business on the phone. So it like allows the client to feel like a little more personable, relationship wise. And then also just like being able to make sure that they feel like they are heard and not being ignored, because a lot of loan officers or other people in the loan industry will be like, I'll just answer them later. Right. And despite having 200 loans in our pipe and, a million text messages a day, we try to make sure, hey, 24 hours, we'll get back to you within 24 hours and, type it out, chat it out, and make sure that they understand. All the clients know, like, look, you're important to us. Right. And I think that feeling of driving, yes, it's skin in the game, but also just like, we truly believe like, look, it is for the client. It's an important thing for the client because real estate, like if you talk about a house, like for most people that don't have millions and millions and millions of dollars in the bank in like the stock market or something, it is the most important asset in their entire lives. And if I am not treating it as if it was my most important asset, then why the hell am I even in the business? Because this is a service industry. It's not I'm here to, take profit. It's no, I want to make sure that you get what you want, right? And I think that really sets it apart. Two is being able to creatively put solutions together, not putting everyone inside of, let's say, a box, because I was never in a box. I never went the conventional route. Like, again, referencing earlier, the failed Asian, right? I never went up that way. So why should I put other clients and other people in the same boat of like, you have to fit in these guidelines or else you do not work, right? So kind of doing that. And that's obviously helped us a lot in terms of being able to set ourselves apart on, for the luxury clients, for investors, because these are kind of like the underserved communities. And that's where we kind of like dove in and we're like, hey, we got to focus on these types of products, these types of properties, so that we can make it so that, hey, you don't actually have to fit between these lines. I can get you something up here. I can get you something down here, and make them feel like, hey, I am getting personalized service for what I am looking to do. And to us, that's very important.
So I watched your interview with One Rent at a Time, right? Pretty popular real estate YouTube channel. And Mike, the host, he has 20 plus years of experience in financial independence, real estate. And he literally laughed out loud in the interview because out of sheer shock value. When you talked about your ability to create this package of 4% fixed interest rate for 40 years for a duplex or something, for non-real estate expert people, because Mike's an expert and he was shocked. And he was laughing because he didn't know what else to do. Can you explain that in layman terms, why that is so impressive and what does that mean?
Let me preface it by saying rates no longer. That video was like back in, I think, January or February. So for your viewers, rates have gone up since then. And by rates, I mean both the federal funds rate and mortgage rates, but we're talking about mortgages. So to put it into layman's terms, the reason why it was kind of a breakthrough product is because it's a 40-year fixed loan. So a lot of loans that everyone knows and loves right now and, purchase everything, 30-year fixed, 30-year fixed, 30-year fixed, right? Everyone knows that. They even know, okay, if I'm in a 30-year fixed, this is the normal conventional loan. If I go 15-year, I know my rate's going to be lower, but my payment's going to be higher, but I'm going to pay it off faster. My perspective is, real estate debt, and I may get a lot of hate for this, but I think real estate debt is good. I think it's good. The government literally incentivizes you to take a loan on your property. So what we kind of brought to the table was, this is a 40-year fixed loan. So this is not a 30-year fixed, your traditional, this is 40. So yes, it's a longer period of time. You're going to be paying a little more interest, maybe a lot more interest. However, it's 40 years, so your payment is way lower, right? So who cares? Especially if it's an investment property and you get to write it off, it's just another write-off. Dustin's better at statistics than I am, but like 80-something%, of people will refinance their house within 5 to 7 years because of something that happens in the real estate market, whether rates come back down from where they are right now, or they want to cash out, pull out some money. So a 40-year fix is like, dude, no one's going to stay the entire 40 years and maintain that loan for entire 40 years. So while rates are high, you might as well take the lowest payment possible, which you get by stretching out the loan.